Cheers! Welcome to Movie Bitches, episode 131. Tonight we're reviewing La La Land. This is gonna be a long night. Buckle in. First things first. Shout out to our wine sponsor, Wink. Trywink.com/moviebitches. You get $20 off your first month. It's pretty delicious.
It's very delicious.
It's good wine.
Yeah. I'm excited about it.
I am too.
So,
La La Land is is the new musical of sorts featuring Emma Stone. I wanted to say Anna Kendrick and I was like, no, that's wrong.
Ooh, that would have been better.
I think I would have preferred Anna Kendrick.
Yeah. I mean,
they're both annoying,
but Anna Kendrick can sing.
Yeah.
And maybe dance better.
Okay, we're just gonna start.
Oh,
my biggest
boy.
issue with this movie is that they cast people who could neither sing nor dance.
In a musical.
And then they have the gall to try and compare it to an Astaire Rogers movie.
Who did that?
Oh, people.
Oh my god.
What a waste of a lovely night.
I think I'll be the one to make that call.
I'm just so over this whole, we're gonna hire famous people to like kind of be in a musical.
I'm frankly feeling nothing.
Is that so?
It was worse than for me. It was like, the numbers were painful.
It was like Channing Tatum and Hail Caesar where you're just like, are you slowed down right now? Are you dancing in real time? Did they mess with the speed of the film?
Right? You're just like, what's going on here?
Like, and I was, the other day, Gene Kelly singing It's Almost Like Being in Love came on.
Oh.
And Gene Kelly is not the best singer. He's not the best singer. But
he's not bad.
He has a style.
Sure.
And I was listening to that song, and he fucking belts the shit out of it, has all this raw emotion to it. Obviously, it's a great song, so like that helps because we'll talk about how terrible all these songs were. And I was just like, what the fuck, movie?
Yeah.
It pissed me the fuck off.
Okay, so I will say this. This movie pissed me off for the first hour. And then it turned into a different movie. It also dropped almost all of the musical elements.
The real laissez-faire musical where you were like, I think... Where it kind of felt like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend where you're like, okay.
Sometimes Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, the songs really work. I'm like, this is a fun one.
Great, and sometimes
they're like, okay, this can end now. Yeah. Yeah. Can we talk about the opening number?
We can talk about everything because I have so many feelings about how much I hated this movie.
Oh my god, wow.
From the writer of Grand Piano. The director was trying to be Woody Allen. It was like Everyone Says I Love You, which was also not good. It's Woody Allen's musical.
Oh.
Where you're like,
Another birthday's here and gone, you've turned another page.
There's a reason that Julia Roberts shouldn't sing.
I've been waiting for you.
Because it's fucking terrible. Guys, I'm okay with you being dubbed. Give everyone the proper credit.
Right?
The Rock, you don't need to sing. You can get dubbed and it'll be great. And I'll be like, I love this song. Great. It's somebody else. I just don't. It's like I was talking about how in Nightmare.
But why does The Rock then need to be cast? You guys, there are 6 billion people on this planet. You can find someone who can sing and dance and act.
The Rock sells tickets. The Rock puts butts in those seats.
I don't know. I mean,
that's why. That's absolutely why. But also, if they can't sing, dub them.
Sure.
I just can't.
I just think there's space for, there's gotta be the next Gene Kelly out there
I hope so.
Who's not getting his shot because they're giving these roles to Ryan Gosling, who, don't get me wrong, love, but like wasn't the right person for this role.
He was also the wrong person for this role because he was 35 and he was acting 21.
Yeah.
And I wanted to punch him in the face. And I wanted to punch Emma Stone in the face. And this is the reason everyone hates LA. This movie is the reason everyone is like, fuck you, LA. And I was like, you know what? LA is rad. There's a lot of great things about LA. This was like every LA cliche that's already been covered. Oh, there's traffic. Oh my God. Oh, it's hot in the wintertime. What? It was like, oh, you're really breaking new ground.
Wait, but the best...
I hated this movie. This movie drove me fucking crazy.
The best part was when they went on like
Oh my God,
the Instagram Pinterest montage of like when they fall in love and they go to all of like the LA places.
When it's like, let's go to every monument in LA.
Oh, we're at LACMA. Instagram.
We're at Angel's Flight. I hate you. It was, for me, it was absolutely treaded, covered territory. I was like,
yeah.
I've heard every joke that's in here. I've heard every LA observation that is in here 1,000 times. It was
But also,
so
what was
basic.
the point of this movie?
I really couldn't tell you because I hated both of them.
Was it that you're supposed to follow your dreams and not be realistic about, like, you know, taking a really good, decent job that can achieve your dream? Like, this movie is why people give, like, millennials a bad rap. Where they're like, oh, you guys are just entitled and you just want to, like, have everything be perfect.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, oh, so the point of the movie for Emma Stone is that she became like a movie star and got everything that she wanted, all just because she pursued her dreams and wasn't distracted? Like, what?
I don't understand. I don't know.
I don't know.
I genuinely don't know what the point of this movie is.
But then also Ryan Gosling got his dream of owning a jazz bar. Even though he didn't pursue his dream, he was distracted by trying to make money and have a living for him and his girlfriend, who she then got angry at him for doing.
That argument scene by the dinner table,
Oh my God.
I was like, what's going on? Have you guys ever talked? You're dating, right? Did you guys both forget that you were dating? Did you guys take a break but then forget to tell each
Because
other?
they hadn't seen each other because he'd been on the road for so long, April.
They can have a conversation. I mean, it was madness.
It was-
This movie, I was like, this is insane. What's going on here?
Nothing was a realistic, like, conversation.
No,
Nothing was.
It shouldn't be. It's a musical. But then the music fucking
But then the
sucks.
music side, like, then it should... Okay, here's my problem. I don't know if a, like, postmodern romance musical is a thing that needs to happen or can successfully happen. It certainly didn't happen in this movie.
Well, this movie, everyone's talking about how this is the darling of the season and how it's this escapist fantasy and it's the feel-good movie of the year. And I was like, this movie was depressing as
fuck. This movie is Annie Hall, the musical.
Right?
I mean,
without any of the good writing.
Exactly.
It was a Woody Allen movie with terrible writing.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's garbage? That's
Oh, it's Cafe Society?
Did you even see that?
No. I couldn't get into them in the beginning, right? I hated, like, I almost left.
Really?
I almost left.
When did you, because we saw it separately and Andrew told me that he flicked off the movie at one point and I was supposed to guess, but I flicked off the movie multiple times, so I really couldn't tell you.
But try and guess what was the worst moment.
At the party when he's like playing the guitar, because that was really funny. When you can't understand any of the lyrics to any of the songs because it's mixed terribly.
No.
No, I have to talk about this. You tell me first.
No, you tell me. I want to know.
Okay, the point of the movie when I was like, fuck you, I hate this. I was like, I am out. I officially hate you. You suck. You make no sense.
Yep.
This writing is garbage.
Yep.
They're having a conversation outside, and she has gone up for this part, and she's like, oh, you know, it's kind of like Dangerous Minds meets the OC. And then he's like, that's stupid. And then she's like, well, actually, it's kind of more like Rebel Without a Cause. And then he quotes Rebel Without a Cause, and then she's like, oh, I haven't seen Rebel Without a Cause. Even though it's been established that she's obsessed with old movies.
And that she said it was like it.
And then, why would you bring it up? If you're gonna say it's like this movie, why would you... That was when I was like, you guys are nonsense. So then at the beginning, her roommates convince her to go to this party, and then they all disappear. And we basically never see them again. And her car gets towed. Shucks, parking in LA is so hard. And then, you know, she never has to pay an impound fee or go pick it up or genuinely have any financial issues or problems that exist in her world.
Yeah. Oh, of course she drives a Prius, and they're like, oh, her Prius, and he drives like a 1960s like T-Bird or whatever, and you're like,
convertible.
That he never puts the top on.
And he only listens to cassette tapes, and he rewinds jazz cassette tapes so he can learn the riffs over and over. I hated him. This movie like personally offended me because as someone who absolutely loves classic cinema and jazz, I was like, fuck both of you. You guys are pretentious assholes. You're giving jazz and old movies a bad name. I hate you. I was just like, she's an idiot. She has no idea what she's talking about. She's like, oh, I don't know what Rebel Without a Cause is, but I have like a Killer's poster up in my room.
And the huge thing.
The Ingrid Bergman thing, which clearly costs like $500, but she's poor and like could afford it. And then he keeps giving speeches about how, you know, jazz is dying and we really have to save jazz. Like it was just like, is it? I get that it's not, you know,
hugely popular.
It's not like big band where there was like the music of the era, but like, is jazz dying and I'm not aware of it? I feel like it's, you know, one of the big genres.
Sure.
It's jazz. It's not going anywhere, guys. I hated him. I hated him. I hated both of them. I wanted them to fuck off.
First of all, it started off, and I might have flipped it off twice. I might have said, fuck you movie, at the opening number, because that was an abomination.
Oh, when it was just like, oh, remember 8½? Now it's a musical.
But then it's like a horrible dance number.
The dancing wasn't even the worst part for me. It was that, it wasn't great, but it
Someone like does a somersault over a car.
But it wasn't, for me, the worst part was that I was genuinely like, I'm trying to hear this song.
Oh, you couldn't hear it in the words?
I'm trying to take in what this song is saying, and it was just like, la 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 la, sun, la 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 la, California, la 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 la. And I was like, I can't take in what's, I was trying. I was actively like, what is this song about?
I couldn't. I had no idea.
They were just run-on sentences. And it was mixed so terribly that the music was louder than the singing. And I was like, this is the opening number? Right? Am I taking crazy pills? I mean, I think I'm more mad. There's a lot of reasons. I'm very mad that it's getting all this attention. And I'm like, what's happening?
What's happening?
I'm very mad that this is absolutely an insult to Los Angeles on a very stereotypical, basic level.
Right, and it really upset me too because the Griffith Observatory is like favorite like place in LA.
Oh my god!
And they just like ruined it.
Oh, you mean when they like drove up in their car like right up to Griffith Observatory at night, even though it was closed, but then got in, even though it was closed and there was no like, I know a guy, and then they were inside. And then their shadows dance better than them. There's a whole dance number that's basically their shadows are dancing, right? But it's clearly two people who can dance.
Oh, yeah, that was the best part.
Clearly two dancers who can dance. And yeah. It's glaring like, oh, that's what dancing is.
Right?
And I was like, who are they?
I was like, oh, that's what dancing looks like.
I want to watch them.
Which leads me to the moment that I said, fuck you, movie, when they kiss and it like freezes and zooms in. It's like Looney Tunes is there like kiss.
That's awful.
Right?
Ugh.
And I was just like, ugh. It was like, oh, he like listens to old jazz and drives an old car and like wears old bowling shoes.
His suits. They're both absolutely starving artists and have no money problems whatsoever. Like, they're both just like, we're so poor, we've got no income. We've both got huge apartments, we're always changing for every outfit. Like, and it wasn't even like Pennies from Heaven where it's like everything's bleak and then it becomes, when the musicals start, everything's shiny, you know?
Sure.
Where it's like, oh, fuck, this movie, and then, oh, but the musical number is, oh, my dress is great, and I'm in a suit, and I'm in a sharp suit, and this is a fantasy. It wasn't that.
No.
Why wasn't it that?
Okay, here's my biggest problem with this movie.
Like, why didn't it do what Chicago did and make her want to be a musical star? Okay, whatever. And she's inventing these things in her head, and this is like what she sees. Cool, I'm okay with that.
Well, so this is,
It's something.
I'm gonna jump ahead to my biggest problem with the structure of the film, and we're gonna have to talk about the end. We can talk about it more later.
Okay.
But
we can talk about it now.
Here's the question that I have for you.
Yeah.
In the end, she becomes a famous movie star, and he opens the jazz club that he's always wanted to own.
He saves jazz.
Oh, sure,
He
single-handedly.
single-handedly saves jazz from its demise. This white 35-year-old pretentious asshole saves jazz. Can we talk about when he mansplains jazz to her? And I was just like, I hate this.
Yeah.
Oh, you just don't understand jazz.
So she, of all the jazz joints in all of LA,
There's only one, and it's his.
gets brought in by her now husband, right?
Who
Is 80 years older than her?
Pause. Is fucking Tom Everett Scott. Is shades from That Thing You Do. What? Yeah. Yeah. Huh? I mean, I get it. It's Hollywood. Oh, what? A young ingenue married an older man. Oh my god, Hollywood's crazy. I hated it.
So here's my question. So she sits down, and all of a sudden he starts playing this real, like, melody. He's like, oh god, I'm so depressed because I saw my love of my life.
I have something to say, but I'll wait.
So then it launches into this whole, it's not a dance break. Wouldn't that have been nice? Well, it wouldn't have been because they can't dance. But
it's like the movie decided became a musical. It was like, oh,
there's a dream sequence.
There's a dream sequence, and it's like kind of trying to be a oneer, where it's like, this is what could have happened,
yes.
I guess, or
yes.
this is what he wishes happened.
So is it what
guess?
he wishes or what she wishes?
Both of them? I guess I got the sense that it was him because he was the one like playing the song, and he's the one that like is still single according to the movie.
Right. So here's my thing. Okay.
Oh, right. So it montages back through their whole life. So basically, we have to rewatch this movie again. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
But it was the only time I actually felt like I was watching a musical because everything was very like props and built and like, oh, whoa.
And like kind of magical and silly and like a little bit of romance in it.
I was like, oh,
and I was like, wait a second, I would have rather just watched this movie because it was a lot shorter and because it happened the way that I wanted to.
It's 2 minutes short. I watched it on YouTube. Great.
I really hated this movie until this number, which is weird because most people then hated the movie after this number.
This was the only part of the movie I even remotely liked. The reason maybe why people are hating that last weird dream sequence, whatever, like the movie becomes sliding doors at some point.
Sure.
But it doesn't make any sense because it's like the first time they actually meet. She wanders into his bar where he plays the piano, and J.K. Simmons shows up and is like, you can only play shitty versions of Christmas music. Like, he's playing Christmas music, but like really poorly, and I'm like, you could at least like jazz this up a little
right?
bit.
I was like, why can't he play jazz versions of the Christmas music?
Like, he's literally like, dun 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 dun. Like, it's like, come on, you could do better than this, but he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, he's like, if I can't play my own jazz, I'm not going to play any at all.
He plays a beautiful piece, and I will give Ryan Gosling credit. He really did learn how to play all those songs, and it looked great, and like, kudos to him. But Emma Stone is like, oh my god, even though apparently she doesn't like jazz.
Right.
Which comes up later.
I just have to say, your piano, and he just shoves past her.
Shoves past her, but in the dream sequence, he runs up to her and kisses her, and you're like, but on what? But then this isn't really a sliding doors. This is his fantasy.
Here's my thought, though. And this might not be how they intended it.
Is this your conspiracy theory?
This is like how I would fix it.
Okay.
Basically, they should have introduced us, like the movie should have started getting to know him as this like hopeless romantic, right? Who is trying to express himself.
He's Lloyd Dobler. Great. I'm in. I love him.
Sure. He's trying to express himself through music, and he is like he imagines these things.
He writes all this music, and then it comes to life in his head, and she's his muse, and then they do dance numbers together, and but it's all in his head.
So they went on a date to Griffith Observatory. She didn't actually float in the sky, but in his romantic head, that's what happened to his score. Then it would have made a little bit more sense, right? Where it's like this whole thing where it's just like, and then at the end, it's him imagining what he should have done, like how he would have fixed his choices, and like, been like, this is what I wish had happened, but instead here I am playing in this bar, really sad because here she is married to someone else. Yeah. The end. And like, it would have been better if it was about him and like if he'd had a character. Who was he?
A pretentious asshole.
But who was he?
A pretentious, one-dimensional asshole.
Yeah.
There's just so many other movies that have commented on LA better and before this and just done something interesting.
It's like one of those New Yorker articles about LA, where you're like, but you don't get it.
You don't get it.
You're like writing this from like an Instagram lens of like, oh well, I did these like, 5 things that I went to Runyon Canyon. Oh my god, that was the one thing they didn't do.
They didn't go to Runyon Canyon.
Missed opportunities.
Are there pretentious assholes in LA? 100%. But I'm so sick of that being the only story that's told in LA.
I don't want to hear their story.
Like, why do they both have to be struggling, pretentious artist assholes? Why couldn't he have just been some normal guy that lived in LA? And she, like, I don't need to see another movie about an LA actress. I just don't care. I was like over it.
And like, I don't know, I mean, she as an actress was actually okay for me. Like, when she fit like, the role of like...
Acting, I was
oh my god, that scene there, she does the test of like...
Oh, with the phone call?
Yeah.
But that was so sad. That's why I would be like, this movie's fucking depressing. Like, why are people like, oh, I had the best time?
I mean, people just really must be craving for like any kind of musical thing. I don't know.
See, but that's like, I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, like in the 30s, like Shirley Temple like brought the country out of the Depression because her movies were so cute. This made me fucking depressed.
Absolutely.
I wasn't like, oh, I got away for 2 hours at the movies.
No.
I was like,
this was an escapism.
No, it wasn't for me.
Not for me at all.
There were so many mystery things that were like set up and then it was just like, oh, never mind. Like, remember when she's talking to her boss and the boss goes, I have to talk to you about something tomorrow. And then it's like literally never like she doesn't ever go back to work. It's not mentioned again. It was so far up its own ass.
It was
it
was so far up its own ass. This movie, instead of understanding and like modernizing all of the things that made old Hollywood films like fun and fabulous and great, it instead placed characters in modern times talking about how great those old things were. And that sucks. This movie for me really felt like a character like Emma Stone's wrote this.
Like her terrible play that was apparently terrible that she put on. God, so much happened in this movie. Remember when she like has another boyfriend for a while?
No.
And then just like walks out on him?
Oh, yeah.
Because she's a real asshole?
Yeah, she's a total cunt. And she like goes to dinner with them and she's just like, I'm not going to participate in this conversation at all. Because I have to think about going to Rebel with a Cause with Ryan Gosling.
No. So she has a boyfriend.
Yep.
They've been dating for a season. And she runs into Ryan Gosling, makes a date with him even though she still has a boyfriend. Okay. Then goes to dinner with her current boyfriend because she forgot that they had dinner plans.
Yeah.
Doesn't tell Ryan Gosling. Just decides she's going to stand him up.
Apparently she didn't have his phone number.
Why? Huh? Then she just walks out on her boyfriend and is like, bye, and meets him at the movies. Can we talk about how every time he played the piano, he turned into Daffy Duck and his hair got all in his face? Like, he turned into Daffy Duck, who Daffy Duck is turning into Beethoven, like, with the, like, and then he'd be like,
Oh wait, oh my god. Have we not talked about John Legend yet?
holy shit! John Legend is in this movie! So were you expecting... So at the beginning of the movie, Rosemary DeWitt shows up. She's the only person I liked in the movie. She's in it for a total of 1 minute, 45 seconds.
Why do you say romantic like it's a dirty word?
Unpaid bills are not romantic.
We find out that Ryan Gosling got shanghaied by somebody, and that's why his life is in ruins, even though he has no real problems. And so I was fully, like, John Legend shows up at some point and is like, hey, do you want a job? And he's like, no thanks. And I was fully expecting it to be like, oh, he's the guy that shanghaied him.
Right.
Like, oh, so he's the guy that, like, screwed you over and you're, like, protecting yourself. Oh, no, it's, like, never brought up or mentioned again or explained in any way.
He doesn't play jazz that's cool enough for you.
He puts electronica over jazz, and that's not jazzy enough.
Yeah. And then do you like this music?
But that's it. So,
do you like the music you're playing? Because they're paying you well, and you have this apartment that you can actually afford now, and you're buying dinner, and you cooked me this meal, and we never see.
And you're making a living as a musician, which is your dream. But
right?
like, I feel like you should quit. Because
I thought your dream was to open a jazz bar.
Dreams can't change. You have to keep your teenage idyllic dreams and not change them whatsoever, and then if you wait long enough you'll achieve them, because that's how life works. So John Legend is like, hey, do you want a job? And he's like, no. And then he's like, okay. And then John Legend's just like, here, we will now be a famous band, and you are completely along for the ride, and we'll be on tour, and everybody loves us. And there's this really weird scene where they were doing a concert, and Emma Stone is invited to the concert. Apparently she's never heard this music before, even though her boyfriend's in the band.
On tour for months.
They're all playing. Ryan Gosling seems perfectly happy playing 3 pianos at once. He has a piano, a keyboard, and an electronic keyboard. He does not seem to be like, oh man, this music is jazz, I guess I'll play. Like, he's like fine with it. He's like doing his thing. And they keep cutting away to her in the audience just being like, oh my god, all these people love him. Oh my god, how could they? Oh, his dreams are crushed. You guys should really communicate more if you're going to be in a relationship.
Right?
I really felt like they were teenagers.
Yeah, it was like, are you guys in a relationship? I'm confused.
Remember when that woman walks up to her in the cafe and is like, is this croissant gluten-free? And then she's like, no, it's a croissant. Let's make more gluten-free jokes. Oh, let's throw some kale jokes in there. Get really on, topic. Be like,
you know what else?
Those aren't overused at all.
You know what else this movie totally just pulled from?
What?
Goji berry.
Oh my god, goji berries?
Goji berry.
But that's actually funny. That actually has like references that like make sense.
But also that was funny 6 years ago.
Then at one point, the movie decides to like break the fourth wall essentially. And basically, Emma Stone has written her own play. She's written a one-woman play called So Long, Boulder City, about a struggling actress that tries to make it in LA. Ugh, I can't. And they've read the script, and she goes, practically to camera, is it too nostalgic? I don't know, are people gonna hate it? And then Ryan Gosling goes, fuck them! And I was like, then fuck you, movie. That was like the perfect, like, oh, that's what this movie thinks? Cool, bye.
It was a pretentious waste of my time is what it was.
Cheers to that.
Yeah. I can't recommend it. You might like it. You might also be a basic bitch.
Cheers to that.
So much for 10,000 subscribers.